minor key areas. Half the tunes in the real book are in minor keys, and the ones that aren't have sections in minor keys. And if you only know your Dorian mode, you're going to have a bad time. I have my students practice only 2 scales, honestly. Well, 2 types of scales in 12 keys, obviously. The major scale, of course, for obvious reasons, but also the minor scale, the harmonic minor scale specifically. I want to make an argument for why that is such a powerful scale when navigating minor key areas. I'm going to give you an exercise, Diatonic Sevenths, that is going to be an incredible multi-tool for navigating what can appear at first very complex chord changes. But first things first, let's put this in a musical context. Given the time crunch that most adults are experiencing these days, I like to have exercises as useful as possible in the context of the music we're learning. So this month I have my students working on Beautiful Love, a jazz standard in the key of concert D minor. We're looking at the alto part. Now I do provide both parts for my students in B flat and E flat, but we're looking at the E flat alto part today of Beautiful Love, which puts us in B minor. Now B minor is the relative minor of D major. Now this is important because as we listen to the melody, I want you to notice which notes are not diatonic. There's 2 sharps in the key signature, F sharp and C sharp. As we listen to the melody of Beautiful Love and get this in our ear, this concert area of D minor, concert D minor, B minor, and alto, I want you to notice which notes are not diatonic. Look for the accidentals. 1, 2, 1. And what becomes very apparent is that minor melodies need a leading tone. Now, the leading tone is the term for 1/2 step below the tonic, which is B here. So we're looking at that A sharp. It is incredibly common not only in melodies, but when we're improvising, it's ubiquitous. It is a sound we're going to hear all the time. And if we're only using our natural minor scale or the Dorian mode, which really relates to major key areas. That's a conversation for another time. But when we're playing tunes in minor keys or major tunes that have modulated to minor key areas, the Dorian mode isn't going to get us the sounds that our heroes are using, nor just the natural minor scale alone. So let's talk about the types of natural scales most commonly found really quickly, not all of them, but let's listen to the difference between the harmonic minor scale that we're talking about today and the natural minor scale. Now, if we just want to build a simple minor scale, the natural minor scale, we simply take the relative key area, which is D major here, and we start on the 6th scale degree. So let's hear first just the natural minor scale. Now, if we raise that 7th scale degree, that A to A sharp, we get a leading tone, a pull back home, which in Western music is incredibly important to establishing key areas and building tension in melodies. So let's hear it now in the same context, which is actually just the opening 4 bars of Beautiful Love, the harmonic minor scale. A 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. So not only is that leading tone incredibly important, the harmonic minor scale is going to be the outline for building the chords of minor key areas. And here's what I mean. Let's dive right into this incredible exercise of Diatonic Sevenths. Listen to once to what we're doing. What we're doing is stacking thirds, building chords off each scale of the harmonic minor scale. And what we're doing here is building the chords of the minor key area. So looking at the opening of Beautiful Love, we see the C sharp minor 7 flat 5, also known as C sharp half diminished, and an F sharp 7 flat 9. These can look like incredibly complex chords, but if you've done your homework in the Diatonic Sevenths, you'll notice they're built into the Diatonic Sevenths. These sounds are built off the harmonic minor scale. And this is where we're killing many birds with one stone. I don't advocate for doing less work. I'm not into hacks or tricks, but what I like to do is find the most efficient way of organizing material in the mind. When we're improvising, we can't be thinking about a million things. We have to practice the exercises that set us up to let go of our thinking mind and have the technique, the tools, the sounds in our ear and under our fingers to start truly improvising. Now, if this sort of thing is interesting to you, I do want to invite you to check out my private studio. We have not had any enrollment openings since October of 2023, but we do have a few slots open. I'm incredibly proud of the curriculum that we have and the learning community that we have. I really think it's second to none. So if you want to check that out, I'm going to put a link down below. We do keep a hard cap on enrollment so I can give students the individual attention that they need. And we have very high retention that I'm quite proud of. So if you want to check us out and grab one of those spots, I'll put a link down below. Now, at this point, if you're thinking, sweet, I only have to know my harmonic minor scale, and those are the only 7 notes I need to play when improvising. Well, no, of course, music isn't that simple. It's a lifelong study that is infinitely complex. So when I'm improvising, I'm not just using the harmonic minor scale. I'm not just using the natural minor scale. I'm not using the melodic minor scale, which is a discussion for another time. I'm just playing language, vocabulary, in the key area. So when I'm improvising over these first 4 bars of Beautiful Love, I'm not thinking of a scale, I'm thinking of the language, the vocabulary I have in this key area, which of course I've stolen from my heroes. Now, the next big piece of the puzzle that you may be missing in your practicing and your improvising is, okay, these notes fit. I know I can use all 12 notes. Now it's overwhelming. What do I do? How do I know which scale to play? Again, we're not playing scales. Our heroes are not playing scales. They're building melodies in key areas. So, of course, any good teacher is going to have you study players better than them. So this month I have my students studying Benny Carter. We're diving into his solo, because we don't guess what sounds good. We don't look at the list of notes that are possible and throw poo against the wall, seeing what sticks. No, we look at the vocabulary, the idiom, the tradition of jazz, and listen to our heroes. So let's listen to the opening of Benny Carter's solo. I'm going to play a little bit under tempo here so you can hear the notes and notice where he uses A naturals and where he uses A sharps. And you will notice with Benny Carter, his use of A natural versus A sharp is not chord dependent. And the opening chord, that C sharp minor 7 flat 5, that C sharp half diminished as we could call it, he's playing the A natural. Later on, same chord, A sharp for a different feel. Because again, our job as soloists, and Benny Carter is not outlining chords. The rhythm section does that. What we're doing is building melodic content over this key area. So I want to strongly encourage you, in addition to learning your major scales, learn your harmonic minor scales in diatonic sevenths. Now I have my students do diatonic sevenths in major key areas too, because then we build our 2 chord or 5 chord and think about those minor chords in major key areas in context. But that's a discussion for another time. I want you to do this. And then as a bonus, take your diatonic sevenths and alter the motion, going up 1 scale degree, down another. Take a listen to that real quick. And these exercises are going to be incredibly useful for simplifying and organizing your mind what otherwise seem like very complex, disparate chords when we look at these minor key areas. I don't know about you, but when I was beginning my jazz studies, some tunes in the rule book, I'd pull them up and I'd see that C sharp 7 flat 5 and the F sharp 7 flat 9. I would get confused, like, let's go back to the major keys of the blues. This is going to really help you organize and create a strategy for improvising in what's not any more difficult, just a little bit more unfamiliar to you. But the Diatonic Sevenths are going to help. All right, if you have questions, hit me up in the comments below. If you are looking for some guidance in your practice, I really don't think you're going to find a better online studio. I'm incredibly proud of our curriculum. Check out the link below, and I will see you next week. Some more saxophonic goodness. Go practice.